Thank you, Joseph. That's okay, my dear and lovely friends. Yeah, once again, I say hello to all who joined just recently to us into the class. My dear friends, uh, we decided last session and we promised each other to help each other in these classes. And some my dear friends have sent some files for me about Persian literature, and they told me that they are going to give their lovely lectures for us in the class. Before I'm going to talk about my own material, just I would like to ask my dear friends who is ready to give the lecture first. We will listen to that person, and thereafter it would be my turn to talk about Persian literature, inshallah. So, if anybody is ready to give the lecture, we welcome the person into the stage of us, into the class, into the lovely get together. Who is ready? Out of my dear friends, who is ready to give the lecture for us? Because some people have sent their files to me through WhatsApp group. Someone has sent just recently a file for me about یوسف گمگشته بازآید به کنعان غم مخور ها. Do not be sad. Do not be sad. Whose is this one? As the first one who is going to give us lecture today, just let me know. Yes, I know, Safa Ali. This problem always, unfortunately, is there. Yeah, I know that. I know that. Unfortunately, that problem mostly is there, and especially in these Asian countries, the net problem always is there. The speed is not okay. Mostly speed is weak. Good afternoon, Haydar. How are you? Okay, then maybe it's okay for me to talk about before our friends are going to be ready for the lecture. It's okay for me to talk about my own material of Persian poetry first of all. Then we will leave the stage for the students to. Yes, Mohnat, something maybe is wrong with your own device. What about now? But some friends say that they hear me. Hey there, this is not my problem. Maybe something is wrong with your own device. So this is okay. What shall I do? Then maybe friends right now are there hearing me. Uh, Good. Dear friends, uh, okay, Shima, how are you? Are you okay? No problem, no problem. Just friends, how many friends right now can hear me clearly? Let me know. Muhammad is, yeah, Mustafa. Then others also inform me, please. And let me see how many friends can hear me. Ali Joseph can hear. Yeah, just let me know because maybe some problems are there. That's okay. Reza Muhammad also can hear me. Uh, so many friends can hear me. Maybe something is wrong with Muhnat and Haydar. Fikri also can hear me. Ali Safa is there. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. So the problem is not from our side. Maybe something is wrong with Haydar and Muhnat. Just in Arabic, tell your friends they must do something for their own devices. Maybe something is wrong. And if the internet in that person's area is weak, then they cannot hear. That is the problem. I think that is internet problem. Whenever the internet is poor and weak, they cannot hear. They cannot hear me. That is what I am saying. Okay, my dear friends. Then let's go into the Persian literature to talk about it. Yeah, to talk about it a little bit. Then, inshallah, if any friend of us is ready to give the lecture for us today, we welcome that person, inshallah, into this stage. Uh, then, as last sessions, I talked about literature for my friends, and as I say that, yes, just in literature, maybe languages are different, but the messages of the literature in all over the world are same. So, as we are going to discuss about the Persian literature, Adabiyat Farsi, as we say, Adabiyat Farsi. Whenever Persian literature comes to discussion, then many different genres of the literature are controversial for us. Then, for example, maybe some poets are there, some novelists are there, some dramatists are there, some essayists are there, some critics are there. And many areas are there in literature which we should challenge about them. Still, I'd like to do something about Persian literature for my friends. And as it is so vast area for us, maybe just we are going to talk about some poems of Persian literature from great and so famous and outstanding poets of Iran. And a little bit we will have some attention to the great novels, of Iran. And if we get some more opportunity, inshallah, we can go through some plays of Iranian writers. If not, we will leave it for yourself, inshallah, to do something more about them. And that's okay. Uh, Actually, talking about the different genres of literature, we need many sessions, we need much time to discuss about it. But still, my dear friends, some materials, some issues, some tips, some keys are same in the literature for discussing on them. Uh, in literature, I mean Iranian literature, many different periods are there. The classic period, the postmodern, modern, and so many different and contemporary periods also are there for us. Yes, Reza, yes, I've got it. Yes, about Persian poet to your email. That's okay. Thank you so much. I'm going to download it right now. Mohnad said we did it, but the same. Sir Muhammad. Okay, Mohnad. So it means that in Mohnad's area the internet speed is very poor. That is why they cannot hear me. So, my dear friends, today about Persian literature, I would like to give some information for my friends about the themes in Persian literature, because this matter is important. First of all, we have to know that what common themes are there in literature for us. Okay, this is important. Oh my God. So what is this? Oh, something. What happened here? I think something is wrong with this, um, system. Let me write here. Themes in Persian literature. Yeah, yeah, Mona. I think yeah. Today everything is strange and unknown for us. Yeah, I would like to give you some information about the themes in Persian literature, my dear friends. Uh, that's okay, Fakri. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Give me time to give some information, first of all, to my friends. Then at the end, I will give opportunity for my friends to talk about whatever they like. Yeah. Today I'm going to talk about some themes of Persian literature which are common in whether in poetry or in novels or plays of Persian language. Uh, the first and most maybe important theme in any literature, and I am sure that it is there in Arabic literature also. Literature has a close relation with history. and many myths also are there. Many myths are there for the history. If you go, for example, through the wars, through the history of Iraq, you will find out, some historical issues, some myths in the literature of yourself even. And Persian literature also is not an exception for the case. So uh, maybe the first and most important theme in the literature of Persian language would be history and myths. Because every language and every literature has its own originality in the literature, in the history. That is why mostly history and myths are the main concepts, are the main themes, are the main titles of the literature, because every nation and every maybe country would like to know that what was the initiation date of the literature for them, and what were the historical, what we say, historical and amazing uh, events and incidents in the literature of those people, and what myths were there, gods and goddesses, many gods and goddesses were there in those historical times. Then mostly literature would like to show those cases. And in our Persian language also, and our Persian literature also, the same case is there. The same case is there. Then you know that due to the religious background, especially of literature in Iran, because pre-Islamic, first of all, before attacking the Arabs into Iran, Iran is was far from the Islam. Then after attacking and invention of Arab in Iran, something was different. I mean, about Zoroastrian area of Iran, we say in Persian Zartosht, and something like this. Before attacking of Arabs into Iran, and transferring the Islam into the Iran, then something different was there in Iran about literature and about poets and about maybe the novelists there. Though novels were not there among Iranian in those days. But just let me to say that due to the religious background of the literature in pre-Islamic Iran and the intermingling of ancient Persian myths with Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism means Zartosht. I don't know whether you have heard this word in Persian literature history or not. We say that Zartosht. Zartosht. In English, we say it Zoroastrian. Zoroastrian, okay? Zartosht. I wrote it for you here. Zartosht. He is so famous. The religion of Zarathustra, and many advices from Zarathustra, yeah, were so much famous for us. Then the mixing, the blending and the mixing of the ancient Persian with the Zoroastrianism, and also the blending or fusion or mixing of the religious Sassanids. I don't know whether you heard this from Iran's history, we had many, governments there, rulers there, and periods there. Sasani, Zartoshti, yeah, Empire, Sasani, Zartoshti, and those things were there for us in our history. And uh, these things, I mean, the Sassanid governments or very ancient Persian myths and Zoroastrianism also uh, would give many different routes for the writers of the Persian language. That is why maybe in especially in ancient Persian time, we will face many myths there, many strange events which maybe happened in the history of Persia. Also, as I said, many different empires or maybe rulers which were there in Iran gives many deep roots for the Persian literature. And it is not. It is the case with even American literature and the British literature, Arabic literature, and whatever literature is there in all over the world. We can easily talk about the roots, about the origins, about the base of the literature, how and when and why even we ask the literature started. Then we are going to find out the reasons. Here in Persian literature also, the same case is there for us. In the New Persian language, which separated from the Middle Persian after Islam. Yeah. Zarathustra, Muhammad. Yes, they claim that he was a prophet, but it's still many things are there. They say that no, he was not a prophet. And among those prophets which uh, has been selected by God, this name is not there for us, especially in Islamic roots of it. Zarathustra or Zoroaster cannot be the prophet for us at least. But still, he has many good advices for the people of his own time, which are useful right now also among the people. So, yes, my dear friends, from the Middle Persian era, I mean after Islam, when after Arab attack to Iran and brought Islam to Iran, then the face of literature changed. It got some new aspects of itself. I mean Persian literature. And you know that after Islam, writing literal history and myths have been done repeatedly. Have because every nation would like to keep the origin of its history, the origin of its literature. That is why every language would like to keep uh, the dignity of the or the respectful issues of the originalism of the literature or maybe the language. Uh, Let me say this example here. Every one of you, I mean, my dear students here, uh, mm, they would like to keep the history and memory of their ancestors. Jaddu Aba, we say, yeah? You know what do I mean by Jadd, huh? It is there in Arabic. It is, I think, Arabic word. Jadd and Aba. I think you know the, yeah, you know the word ancestor. I mean, um, yeah, grandfather, sometime grandmother. Yeah, this is a, and you would like to keep the honorable aspects of your ancestors, your jaddu abas, because you love them. You do not want to what we say, to miss those events from the beginning of your generation. You know then this case is there in the literature also. Literature would like to keep the origins, to keep the basis of the language, to keep the basis of the writings, to keep the basis of the works. And it happened about Persian literature also. They started to write about the history and myths of Persian literature, especially after Islam period. Then the historical prose and the mythology texts, which do not have literal aspects. Maybe, yes, sometimes we are going to talk about many heroes and heroisms of the what we say, of the history of our own nation. Then sometimes literary issues and aspects are not there, uh, but sometimes just heroism is there. you know Heroism is there. We would like to keep those things, that is why we are writing about such things. So the language used and using literary arrays have put them in the category of literary works. Then remember this from me, my dear friends. Language and literature are two complementary issues. If language is not there, you cannot write anything. And sometimes we say that language without literature also cannot be much useful, okay, for the nations. As I mentioned, literature gives you good and beautiful ways of communication. We talked about this. Then the case here also is like this. Without language, you cannot create literary works, and without many times literary devices and literary communicational ways, language would not be much useful for us. So these two things are complementary to each other. That is why people through the history maybe learned how to use the language in its most beautiful way for the literature, and how to get some helps from literature to improve the languages. The same case is there for Persian language also. We can refer to books. Here I can give just some examples because, as I said, many different works are there. But about what we say, myths and histories, just we can mention some, you know, examples from the Persian language about history and myths. And I'd like my friends to go and find out something from internet and read it. One of them can be Balami history. We say Balami history, Tarikh Balami. We say in Persian, Tarikh Balami. You can easily go through the internet to find out information about these things. And as the homework, as your assignment also, you can collect some information about these books. And you can write a summary of the book for me also. Then it would be good for you also to get more information about these books and about the history of Persian literature also. So these are just examples about his history. Beyhaqi history. Beyhaqi history. We say in Persian, Tarikh Beyhaqi. Let me write here. Tarikh Beyhaqi. تاریخ بیهقی or اولی میشه the first one would be تاریخ بلعمی. Okay, تاریخ بلعمی or بلعمی history. The second one is بیهقی history, or we call it تاریخ بیهقی. Okay, the next book, which is so famous for us also, mostly about the historical issues, we refer to this book, is Tabaristan history. Tarikh Tabari, we say for that. Tarikh Tabari. Tarikh Tabari, we say that. The next historical book about Persian literature is Tarikh al-Rusul wal-Muluk. Tarikh al-Rusul wal-Muluk. Tarikh al-Rusul wal-Muluk. In Persian, we write like this. Tarikh al-Rusul wal-Muluk. Then one more, maybe historical book for the Persian literature can be Mujmalul Tawarikh. Huh? Mujmalul Tawarikh. Tawarikh is the plural form of Tarikh, my dear friends. Mujmalul Tawarikh. You know these words better than me because mostly these names are Arabic names, not Persian names, my dear friends. Okay, Bal'ami is an Arabic word, but Bayhaqi just is Arabic word. This Tabari is Arabic word. Then Al-Rusul al-Muluk is Arabic word. And Mujmal completely is Arabic. Mujmal comes from Jamal, Jamil, Ziba, yes? Am I right, my dear friends? Mujmal. Mujmal, I think, comes from Jamal or Jamil, means beautiful. We say in Jamil, Jamil means brilliant. Yeah. No, 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 Mona. So what does it mean? Jamal, Jamil. Or Mujmal means majmu, plural. Uh-huh. But mujmal, I mean, huh? Not majmu. Majmu is this one. Jam'a, we say in Persian. Jam'a. And this one we say majmu. This means the plural form of jam. But what about mujmal? Mujmal is, aha. Mujmal also means, aha, mujmal. So in Arabic means plural, huh? Collected, get together like this. But what about Jamal, Jamil, Jamil? This one, Jamil. While someone reciting the Quran, we say Jamil, Jamil, Jamil. Yeah, Jamil means, but Mujmal means plural. Yes, my dear friends. Mujmal means, okay. Thank you so much for telling me about the exact meaning of that word. I mean, yeah, means all. Mujmal means, yeah. Mujmal tawarikh. I think as the tarikh here is in the plural form, I mean tawarikh, then yes, mujmal can be the plural form of something. Yeah, this is okay. Thank you very much. I got something new. I got something new. Mona, we must be because from our childhood we are reading Quran, reciting Holy Quran. We are hearing many hadiths from the prophets, from imams. Then yes, we are. But unfortunately, the case is this one. They do not teach us how to speak that language. This is important. They must teach us how to speak Arabic language. But yeah, I am a reciter of Quran. I can recite it. I have got many ranks and gifts and prizes on the recitation of Quran, Holy Quran. But still, just we know that way the meaning. But in colloquial way, we cannot understand the uh, Arabic, conversations especially. Then, inshallah, our government would do something about teaching us how to speak Arabic language because that one is very much important for us. So, my dear friends, yeah, I gave some examples about the history for my friends. Then you can go easily through those books which I have mentioned for you to collect some information about the history of Persian language there. Yeah, the other things which maybe I'm going to talk about that one is one of the friends also have prepared something about uh, Ferdowsi for me. I have got one file from France about Ferdowsi. So the very famous book about the method of Persian language is Shahnameh Ferdowsi. Yes, and I am sure that you know this person better than me. Shahnameh is the name of Ferdowsi's book. Shahnameh Ferdowsi, which is full of mythical events in it. So many myths are there. So many myths we can find in this book. Myth. I mean this one. Myth. What do you say this in Arabic language? Myth. What do you call myth in Arabic language? Myth. Oh, in Persian we say osture fekri. Asatir. Yeah, in Persian we say asatir and osture. Do you say the same in Arabic language? Oh my God. So we are same. Oh, yeah, we call that myth in Persian language also osture and asatir. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. So we are same. Yeah, myth, past tarikh, tarikh, you got it from me. Tarikh means history, and myth means osture. Yeah, uh, this Shahnameh is full of osture, and many asatir are there in Shahnameh. Then if you go through that, you will find out many lovely events there in this one. You know that Shahnameh of Ferdowsi is the most prominent work among the works of verse. Unfortunately, this Shahnameh is in the poetry form. I mean prose form, not in other form. Sorry, verse form, not in prose form. Then this is in poetry form, this book. And you know that this is a universal book, so famous in the world, and especially in European universities. There are many syllabuses about Shahnameh Ferdowsi for the European people also. Yeah, yes, it is in the verse form, as I said, in it is poetry by Ferdowsi. He has created this famous book, I mean Shahnameh, by his own poems. But it is full of myths, you know, it is full of myths. This we call that epic, epic. You know, I think that must be there in Arabic also. Epic means hamasi. I don't know whether you call that hamase or no. Sorry. I have to write it in Persian. Hamasi, yes. Uh, and Mona, you call that malhama or mulhame? Malhama or mulhame? I cannot pronounce it in its right word. Malhama, I know. No, the second, I mean epic. In Persian, we say hamasi, okay? This is an epic. It means that in yek asar hamasi ast. In yek asar hamasi ast, okay? We call that hamasi, hamase. Do you have the word hamasi, Hamas, or something like this in Arabic also? Oh, that's okay. Nice, good. So we are so close to each other, Persian language. Yeah, because many different Arabic words are there in Persian. As I mentioned, due to the attack of Arabs into Iran and you know transferring their own language, I mean Arabic language into Persian one, then easily you can find out many Arabic words in Persian language. So that is why we are same in such cases. Yes, as I mentioned, my dear friend, this epic work contains the different legends, different Hamase, you know, different wars, and many different, you know, cases are there, especially about Zoroastrian Iran and even the pre-Zoroastrian period uh, uh, you know, periods is mentioned by Ferdowsi. And Ferdowsi tried to save them from oblivion under the impact of religious beliefs, you know. Maybe when religion comes, you know, in every country, in every area, when religion comes, maybe religion denies some other cases and it brings its own you know aspects for the people and Ferdowsi did something about this. He wrote something about these epics, about these events, you know, about these heroisms to keep them from the impact of religious beliefs, you know. The contents of this book reflected in Shahnameh are somehow different from the original version, and Ferdowsi, besides having the knowledge of the original story, which existed in the verse books, has changed them in a way that they do not fall under the category of forgotten works. You know, uh, let me say something new here for my friends. Literature is the blending, is the mixing of reality and fiction, my dear friends. You know, fiction and reality. Always, literature is the blending of fiction and reality. For example, in Shahnameh, Rostam. and Sohrab, Rostam and Sohrab, two powerful uh, persons of the Shahnameh. For example, just one of them, for example, Rostam could kill 100 soldiers of the enemy. But I think it is not possible for every person, for a person to kill more than five other persons in those days. Right now it's okay just by pushing what we say, a button, pushing a button, you can kill all the people of the world by nuclear bomb, by atomic bomb. America did it for Hiroshima there. Just it is so easy right now to kill many others just by one person. But in those days, with sword and these things, you one cannot kill more than five-person because others can attack and kill you. To make those persons hero, hero of the nation, they are mixing something from fiction and reality to bring the what to bring the, for example, novel to write. It is not possible. It is not possible for a person, uh, whether that person can be very skillful one in the war, how to fight. Okay, let it be there. For example, Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee also was there, so famous for his, martial arts, karate, taekwondo, or kung fu, and these things. But still, in reality, Bruce Lee can fight to three, four, or five people. But in his movies, you can see many, many, many karate people are there around him, and he can, what we say, he can kill them, all of them. It is not possible. They mix literature. I mean, the literary work is the mixing of what is the mixing of reality and fiction. Reality and fiction. Thanks God, Mohnad. You can clearly right now hear me. Yeah, Fikri has got something from Shahnameh, says that teaches a wide variety of moral virtues like worship of one God, religious uprightness, patriotism, love of love of wife, love of beloved, Fikri, not love of wife, family and children, and helping the poor. Exactly, those things are there. Inshallah, we will go to some parts of Shahnameh because that is very famous and important work of art in Persian literature, and I'd like my friends to know much and much about Shahnameh and even on Ferdowsi also. But here, just I am giving a little bit examples for my friends, and I am mentioning just a few words about those works, and inshallah, we will go completely in those works to get more and more. Yes, you know that the contents of Shahnameh, as I mentioned, are somehow different from the original version. As I mentioned, Ferdowsi mixed the fiction and realism. That is why he changed some events, some wars, some mystical, or sorry, some mythos, you know, in his work. I mean, this Shahnameh, to keep the mostly Persian languages culture safe in this book. Okay, then for example, the story of Q Mars, which even in Islamic sources has been referred to as superhuman, has changed to the first king. and the story of Mashia and Mashiana, which are there in Shahnameh, and the dualism in Zoroastrian religion that was not in accordance with the time of Ferdowsi had been removed from the book. So it means that Ferdowsi has changed some parts of the history, some parts of the method due to keep the originality of Persian language, safe. That is why he has changed. Besides Ferdowsi, we can name some history and legends writing poets, like just here also, I would like to give you some examples uh, about the myth or history. These writers also are there. I can mention writers like Daqiqi, Asadi Tusi, Khaju Kermani, and Zartosht Bahram Pajudo. Huh? Zartosht, Zartosht Bahram Pajude. Okay, these are some writers of history and myth. You can go through the works of these people also. These are the person's name. دقیقی، اسدی توسی، خواجو کرمانی, and زرتشت بهرام پژوهو. Huh? These are different than uh, many other different writers of history and myth. But the famous one is Ferdowsi, as I mentioned to my friends. So the first and maybe the initial case for our discussion about the themes of Persian language was myth and history. Yeah, I mentioned something about history and myths of Persian literature, but to get more and more information, you have to follow these words which I send to my friends, and you can get much information from the internet about these writers and works of art also. Okay, my dear friends. The other and very, very much lovely, which had many followers in the world, even of Persian themes, is mysticism. Mysticism means irfan, we say irfan. I don't know. It comes from Araf. Arafa means knowing something. Yes, Araf. Man arafa nafsah faqad arafa rabbah. Yeah, am I right? Something. Man arafa nafsah faqad arafa rabbah. Whoever knows himself well can know the God as much as possible. I think something like this. The meaning Man arafa rabbah faqad arafa sorry, man arafa nafsah, faqad arafa rabbah. Araf, irfan in Persian means yes, the belief that direct knowledge of God is spiritual truth. Muhnad, yeah. But here, just simply, mysticism means knowing of ourselves. Yeah, this is very important. But in its larger explanation, we can say that mysticism or Irfan or RF is someone who who is going to find out who he is first, and then as he belongs to God as some part of RF belongs to God. The Spirit of God is there in him. The soul of God is there in him. Yeah. نفخت من نفسي. Yeah. أنا نفخت من نفسي means that God says, just I blew my own spirit into the clay, and make it animate. Yes? Then some part of us belongs to God. That is why a human being would like to go back again to God. Then he tries to know himself. Then, after knowing himself, that person can move towards the originality, can move towards God. Okay, to know God also. Without knowing ourselves, we cannot know God. That is the case. And RF or Irfan is the theory which is going to find out God. So remember this explanation or definition from me. Mysticism means, in my own words, I am telling to my friends, maybe from others, you can find out many different definitions about mysticism. But simply, I say that mysticism means the finding of God through inner light and contemplation and or meditation also. Okay, this is my own definition about mysticism. Mysticism, Irfan. Mysticism means the finding of God through inner light. You cannot see God with your physical eyes, my dear friends. Whether you make them 8 or 10 centimeter, you cannot. Yes, so um, mysticism in Arabic means al-Sufia. Sufi, we have that in Persian also. We say Sufi, Sufism. It is so famous, Sufism. We have the same, yeah, as Sufism. But Sufism, my dear friend, Sufism is the branch of mysticism. You know, Sufism is the branch of mysticism. Remember this. I mean, mysticism is very much larger than Sufism, okay? And as the same case is there for a Sufi trying to find God through inner light, through contemplation, through meditation, through thinking, through pondering, and many states and stations are there for a Sufi to reach to God, states. How many states are there? I think about 1,000 and more states are there. We say that in Persian, hal و ahwal. حال و احوال. حال و احوال. Hal here means um, station. Ahwal means state. Okay, state. Station and uh, states. For example, for a Sufi, 40, 40 halls are there, 40 stations are there. A Sufi should pass all those 40 stations to reach to God. Okay? Riyazat is I think Riyazat is the uh, station for a Sufi. For 40 days, for 40 days, a Sufi must stay alone, far from the society, far from the society. Huh? And the Sufi must be for 40 days, must be in trouble, in problems, in hardships of the world, then he can be a Sufi. Yeah, Sufism is the branch of mysticism, as I mentioned, my dear friends. We will talk about that cases, inshallah, thereafter. But first of all, I'd like to give just some information for my friends about the themes of Persian literature. So the second theme for the Persian literature is mysticism, as I mentioned. Mysticism and mystical instructions have a special place in classic Persian literature. Uh, the history of I have written a book on this case. Already I have mentioned it for my friends. I think I told you the name of that book. If you can buy that book from internet, it is available on Amazon site. In Iran, we cannot buy those books because we have not a Visa card, and this crisis has have brought many problems for us. But I think in Iraq it is possible for you. Uh, Totally, this book is about mysticism of Persian language. Sell your clouds and keep your clouds by Ali Arya. If you write this in Google, you can easily see my book there and Amazon site. It is there. Then here, mostly I have talked about the mysticism, Irfan of Persian language, and I have brought many examples from the mysticism of the Persian writers. Then here, the history of the tendency to mysticism in Persian literature goes back to Mani. In Persian, goes back to Mani. Yeah, they claim that he was a prophet, Mani. I don't know you have heard this name or no. Mani, Mani. Sorry. I am trying to write it in English. Mani, okay? Mani, we say that they claim that he was a prophet, but we have not just exact information about the case. Yes, I know that. But we have not got just exact information about the case. In the period, a lot of Iranian literati and poets also started to create literary works with mystical themes. You know, yeah, many our poets, I mean Iranian poets, due to the Islam, Islam. And I think, my dear friends, uh, I have written something in my own book, Sell Your Clouds and Keep Your Thoughts. There, I have mentioned the originality of mysticism, I think, goes back to whether Imam Ali or Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them. Okay, uh, but many different ideas are there because it belongs to the history, and in history, many things, many diversions are there. Then one cannot exactly say the right word. Uh, and again, about the mystical writers of Persian language, we can refer to Abu Sa'id Abul Khair. Uh, Abu Sa'id Abul Khair. Names are, it seems that names are Arabic names, Abu Sa'id Abul Khair. This one also is so famous for us. Abu Sa'id, Abu Khair. The name is Arabic, but yes, the poems are, Persian. This one has written, but mystical poems, mystical poetry are there, but the entering of mysticism into Persian literature officially goes back to the spiritual sonnets of Sana'i. Okay, dear friends, Sana'i. Let me write here. Sana'i. This person. Sana'i is, yes, so famous for the mystical writings in Persian literature. Later, after the progress of Iraqi style in poetry, see, friends, one of the students of this class, I'd like to give a lecture about this style because it belongs to you. Iraqi styles in poetry, okay? Sabk Iraqi, we say in Persian. Sabk, it is so famous, and many Persian writers, especially Persian poets, are following this. Sabk Iraqi. You know, I'd like a friend of us in this class prepare some information about Sabk Iraqi or Iraqi style in poetry for us, and led us to get more information about this style because many writers and many poets of Persian language were following and still maybe are following the Iraqi style there. So if anybody prepares something about this style, I would appreciate the person. Yes. Uh, so it was intermingled with the mysticism. I mean, Iraqi style mingled with, yeah, Abu Majd Adam As-Sanai. Yeah, this is the full name, Fikri. Yeah, this is the full name. Yeah, it was intermingled with mysticism in a way that many mystical perceptions and terms entered the common poems of that era, as I mentioned. One of the most important reasons for the tendency to mystical poetry is the literary test of Sufis, as you mentioned, test of Sufis and the followers of Sufism. You know, it is so strange to tell to my friends, even right now, European Sufism also we have, American Sufism also we have, Indian Sufism is so famous in the world. Then Sufism is there, here and there, busy everywhere. That Sufism is there. Many famous Sufis of Iran had divan of poetry. Divan. I don't know this word is there again in Arabic or no. Divan means collection of the poems. We call that divan in Persian. Divan. We write in this way, divan. Divan means the collection of the poetry of, yeah, Zahra. Yeah, exactly, divan. Oh, in Arabic also that is divan. That's okay. Nice, nice. So we are same again. Shukr. Yes. So many famous Sufis of Iran had divan and poetry books and were known as the prominent poets of their period. Hence, Sufi poetry, which is also one of the branches of Islamic mysticism, as I mentioned for my friends. Sufism is the branch of mysticism, found its way to common literature of Iran, especially after the Mongol invention. Sufism and mysticism, mostly written by Persian poets or Persian writers after Mongol invention to Iran. So, among the most famous poets who wrote Sufi and spiritual poems, here I can mention some of them for you who are very much famous in Persian language. In Persian language, you must hear these names from me here, and inshallah, you will go to get some more information about these names. So these are the Sufi and mystical writers, but some of them, just I have given some examples, who are very much famous for us. Baba Tahir is famous for his rubaiyat, okay, rubaiyat or quatrains, as we say in English. Jami is very much Hatif Isfahani, Fakhruddin Iraqi, Shah Nematullah Wali, Rumi, I mean Mawlavi, then Attar of Nishabur, Mahmud Shabestari, and Feyz Kashani. Feyz Kashani. These are some famous mystical poets of Iran. Okay, you must know them. Baba Tahir, Jami, Hatif Isfahani, Fakhruddin Iraqi, Shah Nematullah Wali, Rumi, Attar of Nishabur, Mahmud Shabestari, and Feyz Kashani. Okay, we can so number these writers of Persian language as mystical writers of Iran. Also, we can name some of the literary mystical prose. These are poems, as I mentioned here. These are poets of Persian language who are maybe who are going to be write poems on mysticism, or let it be mystical poems for us. They have written mystical poems for us. But still, we have some prose writers about mysticism also. About mysticism also, I can mention some names for my friends, and you can, inshallah, go easily to find out further information from the net. So the first group was poets of Persian language. The second one is prose writers. Prose writers, Ainul Ghuzzat Hamadani, Ainul Ghuzzat Hamadani, Khaja Abdullah Ansari, famous for his munajat. Munajat, you mean praying. شمس تبریزی، شیخ احمد جامی، محمد غزالی و سعدالدین نیزاری کوهستانی. بچه, my dear friends, and these writers are so famous among Iranian writers in prose texts of mysticism. So we got two groups of poets and prose writers of Persian language who are writing on mysticism. The poets, famous poets, who maybe have written poems on mysticism are Baba Tahir, Jami, Hatif Isfahani, Fakhruddin Iraqi, Shah Nematullah Wali, Rumi, Attar Nishaburi, then Mahmud Shabestari و فائز کاشانی. But about prose writers, we can mention عین القضات همدانی، خواجه عبدالله انصاری، شمس تبریزی، شیخ احمد جامی، محمد غزالی و سعدالدین نیزاری کوهستانی. My dear friends, these are some names from mystical writers of Persian language, whether they are writing poems or prose text in Persian language. Um, then, among the important mystical works of Persian literature, we can name such a famous, such a wonderful, such a mystical, such a lovely, really, work of art by Molavi. We call that Masnavi Molavi or Masnavi by Rumi. It is so famous and it is so amazing. Maybe for you also, it would be very amazing if I say to my friends, in 2006, in 2006, the bestseller book of America. In 2006, the bestseller book of America was Masnavi and Molavi, not Whitman, not Emerson, not Henry David Thoreau, not T.S. Eliot, not John Ashbery, but Masnavi Molavi. Such a great work of art is this one. I mean, Masnavi Molavi, the second Quran for us, the second Quran, really. Then also, Divan Shams can be one more. Divan Shams, okay, can be a great work of art on mysticism, you know. Divan Shams, Divan Shams by Rumi. These two great works uh, are taught in European and American universities right now uh, for PhD students. For PhD students. But in Iran, unfortunately, it is not like that. Though they are our writers, still uh, conferences are there on them in European countries and American countries. Also, my dear friends, after Masnavi, Molavi, and Divan Shams by Molavi, also we can mention some other works of art which are so famous in Persian language on mysticism. And I think for your PhD thesis, you can select some of these books and you can compare those with your own Arabic writers, you know. It would be very lovely, but in English language, you know. The Conference of the Birds, we say in Persian, and in Arab, that name is Arabic, not Persian really. Mantiq yeah? Mantiq isn't this Arabic? Tair, tair means tire, something like birds, yes? Birds, tair means birds, Mona. And mantiq means proof, yeah? Hey, mantiq tair, tire, yeah. Tairan means plural form of birds. Or in English, we call it the Conference of the Birds by Attar, Munajat Name by Ansari, as I mentioned, The Alchemy of Happiness by Ghazali, and Kashful Mahjub by Hojbiri. These are some different works of art which are so famous in Persian language, and inshallah. You can go through such great works to get more and more information about them. I think it is enough for today, my dear friends. Inshallah, I mentioned some names for my dear friends. For your next lectures, you can provide something about those books and names, poems, and prose writers of Persian language, if you like, to prepare something about those things and to give your lovely lecture for the class also. Today we have not any friend to give the lecture for us, but inshallah from the next sessions, please start your lectures on the Persian literature and let us to learn some more from your dear friends. That's okay. Right now, stage is yours. If anybody would like to say something, or if you do have any question, stage is yours.
Inshallah.
It was my duty. Thank you, Mustafa, and thank you so much for wasting your time for the class and lending your lovely ears for my words. Thank you, my dears. But many friends were not there today in the class. We had just 8 friends, so I don't know what. Maybe the problem of connection was there still in Iraq for our friends, because I know that many friends are enthusiastic for joining into the classes. Maybe something was wrong with them. Yeah. I know that, Mona. Yes, I know. I know. That's okay. Give my best to those friends also. But luckily, they can download the voices of this session also, and they can learn something. Because today I gave some names, some issues about the Persian literature itself, and they are available there on the net. They can easily download it, and they have, I think, accessibility to the files which are recorded here. Okay, my dear friends. Now that's okay. Take care of yourself. I think we are going to join to the other class seminar with together after some minutes, inshallah. Okay, that is nice. Uh, just enjoy for some minutes, eat something or drink something also. Then, inshallah, we will join to the other class seminar and meet each other there again. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Joseph. That's okay, my dear and lovely friends. Yeah, once again, I say hello to all who joined just recently to us into the class. My dear friends, we decided last session and we promised each other to help each other in these classes. And some my dear friends have sent some files for me about Persian literature, and they told me that they are going to give their lovely lectures for us in the class. Before I'm going to talk about my own material, just I would like to ask my dear friends who is ready to give the lecture first. We will listen to that person, and thereafter it would be my turn to talk about Persian literature, inshallah. So, if anybody is ready to give the lecture, we welcome the person into the stage of us, into the class, into the